JC, he's a fairly newcomer to our pack. Everybody hopefully will welcome him tonight. And he's been working very hard, and he has earned his Bobcat Badge. So before we give him this, I'd like them two to come up, maybe sit with him. And then we have a little story to read for you.
Sit right on the stage.
Join us.
Have a seat. Over here, come on. All right.
I know how to do that.
Now after reading this story, hopefully you boys will consider yourselves pretty fortunate. A little story about the Zulu boys and what they had to go through in order to become a warrior. Before they were allowed to become scouts and warriors, Zulu boys had to pass a pretty tough examination. This is what they had to do. When a boy was nearly old enough to be a warrior, he was taken aside, stripped of all his clothing, and painted white all over. He was given a shield and a small spear with which to protect himself and to kill small animals. He was then sent into the bush. Anyone seeing the boy while he was painted white would hunt and kill him. And the white paint took about a month to wear off. It would not wash off. So for a month, the boy had to hide in the bush and live as well as he could. He had to follow the tracks of the deer, creep near enough to spear the animal to get food and clothing for himself. He had to make a fire to cook with by rubbing two sticks together. He didn't have any matches. He had to be careful not to let his fire smoke too much, or it would catch the eye of the scouts on the lookout for him. He had to be able to run long distances, to climb trees and to swim rivers in order to escape from his pursuers. He had to be brave, to stand up to a lion or any other wild animal that might attack him. He had to know which plants were good to eat and which were poisonous. He had to make his own cooking pots out of the tree bark or clay. He had to build himself a well-hidden hut to live in. He had to take care of wherever he went. He left no tracks for his enemies to follow. If he snored when he was asleep, it would give him away to a keen-eared enemy. So he learned to sleep with his mouth shut and to breathe quietly through his nose. For a month he had to live this life, sometimes in burning heat, sometimes in cold and rain. When at last the white stain had worn off, he was able to return to his village, where he was received with great joy and allowed to take his place among the young warriors of the tribe. He would go on to become a ring top, that is, a proven warrior, who was allowed to wear a ring on his head. Then he could possibly go on and earn the honorable title of wolf. But you can imagine that many boys who went out did not get through that white period at all. Some were killed by wild animals, some killed by enemies, some died of starvation, exposure, or by drowning. Only the best among them survived. Pretty tough exam, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, JC, you've gone through the first exam of the Cub Scouts, and you've done a great job with your parents. So I'd like to have Dad come on up.